Oh man, so a really interesting Saturday. We've got Bitcoin hovering slightly green, Ethereum down another 0.7%, but both are forming a really critical pattern, which you're not going to like me for sharing the negative price targets, but I've got to share it with you. I've got to be honest with you guys about what I'm seeing in the charts. There's no point me saying we're going to rally up to this crazy price target when I'm seeing certain things in the charts which have me a little bit worried in terms of the pricing patterns that they're currently forming. That, alongside this backdrop we started seeing on Friday around the global economy heading into a slowdown. FedEx came out and really revised their forecast for the rest of this year and next year, citing the fact that they're seeing a global slowdown as markets panicked. Another big red week in the equity markets. Been a tough week for crypto with the CPI reading, and now we don't get any respite. Next week is going to be a huge defining week with Jerome Powell coming out slated to give either a 75 or shock the market and give a 100 basis point rate hike. Guys, we're going to go through all of this and a bunch more. Smash the like, don't forget to subscribe. As always, check out the links in the description. BYBIT or BitGet. If you want to buy any crypto, use those platforms in the description. Now, as you can see here, guys, I've got a few different patterns which I want to share with you. But the first thing we can see is that Bitcoin is up 0.25% today, okay? You can see we've had a little bit of support coming in from this level, which we're going to zoom in shortly. But I want to show you this bigger pattern, this megaphone pattern we're seeing here on the daily time frame. Now, with the normal pattern we've been using, which I'm going to continue to use, is this, right? We were in this channel, then you broke out from this channel. We tried to run towards the 20. We broke through 24, sorry. We got to 25, and then we came back down, right? When Jerome Powell put us back in our box, and now we're back in this channel. Now that remains. But when the other way to look at it now is we are in this megaphone pattern from a technical perspective, and these tend to break to the downside. They continue to carry on the pattern from which you entered it in, which would suggest that we could be, if we lose this level, falling back to the downside. And this is where things get worrying. If we fall here to the downside, let's try to make this a little bit more conservative, right? The other thing you can see is that you're also technically forming a bit of a head and shoulders pattern, right? You can technically see a left head, you can see a right head. This is your final attempt at the next, and you can see a neckline along this 18,700 level. And this is what I'm getting worried about. I warned about this the other day as well. If we keep coming down to test this 18,700 level, things could get a little bit gnarly. We know that the June lows are down here at 17,600. Could we flush down and not just test some of those lows, but close below some of those lows as well? That is the risk here. Now, I also think that there is room here for a little bit of a relief rally. You could have a little bit of relief. I don't think we're going to top that 22,600, the top of the wick here. And then I think after that, we could be coming back down to test this level. And that's where it gets nervy, okay? We managed to bounce here on the closes. We bounced here. We bounced here. We bounced really strongly here. Are we going to bounce again, or is it going to be fourth time unlucky and we lose this level? And that's where things can get a little bit scary here on the crypto charts. Now, we've already seen in the equity markets, I shared this with you guys yesterday, that many people are expecting equities to retrace down to June lows. So for June lows, that brings Bitcoin down to 17,600. So is that what we're expecting on crypto? We're going to have to see what kind of example does the equity markets give us next week after the FOMC meeting. I'm going to come on to the FOMC very, very shortly. Now, similarly with Ethereum, what pattern did I share yesterday? I said the exact same thing. We're potentially forming this head and shoulders pattern, which gives you a scary price target back down to 835. Now, whilst I'm not exactly expecting the 835 price target, you can see we are now coming up to this critical support. We are at the neckline right now, 1415. We bounced off of it here. We bounced off of it here. Are we going to hold, or are we going to break it? You can see that Ethereum is already at its neckline because they've had a big falling off here since the Ethereum merge. The speculators have left, the retail interest has left, the hype has left, and now it's falling back to a level here. And if it loses this level, I'm looking for this support line here from the channel at 1273, and then you've got the bottom of the channel at 1,000. Now here's the scary bit, guys. The scary bit is what I shared with you guys yesterday, which is we are in this channel. Right? We were in that channel and we broke to the upside on the hype and the excitement around ETH 2.0. Now, relative to this chart, where is Bitcoin? Where is Bitcoin? Let me just remind you. Bitcoin's channel is here, right? So Bitcoin is well and truly on its way to the bottom part of its channel, which is 18,700. We're not far off of it. Now, when you come onto Ethereum, you're a long way. You're not even close to the top of your channel. So what I call this almost is for the difference between there and coming down all the way close to the bottom of its channel about there. That is the Ethereum hype still left over. Now, the question is how much of that is going to remain and how much of that is going to dissipate as Bitcoin falls and to the bottom of its channel. So if Bitcoin falls to the bottom of its channel, I expect Ethereum to fall a lot faster. But I think you've got a lot more movement to the downside here for Ethereum, unfortunately, which is something I'm keeping an eye out here. If we get into this channel, I would love to do some more dollar cost averaging on Ethereum between that kind of 1270 mark, but more excitingly around the 1000 mark. I mean, I think we can get back there on Ethereum, and I will be setting some limit orders around that because the economy is not showing much excitement. If Jerome Powell comes out now next week and does the unthinkable, which is 100 basis points, you can see 15% of the market is currently pricing in 100 basis points, right? If he comes out and does 100 basis points on September the 21st, we are 4 days away at the time of recording this video, 4 days away. If he comes out and does that, markets will lose it. They've not priced it in just yet. Okay, 75 basis points they've priced in. 85% of the market have expected 75 basis points after the less than exciting CPI reading, which, by the way, still came down to 8.3%. But the market was expecting this at 8% and better on core inflation. I think the markets are fully expecting 75 basis points. Where Jerome Powell can shock the market is with a more aggressive rate hike of 100 basis points. And that is the big question leading up into this week is he going to do that at risk of slowing down the economy? We know the jobs figures are still on his side. We can see the retail sales figures are still on his side. So the economy is still there. We're not in a characteristically strong recession. So they're right in what they were saying about that. So is that going to be the backdrop and the support for him to go and do something which is pretty, very strong-minded in doing 100 basis points? And that's going to be interesting to see this week. Fear and greed index sitting still in the extreme fear category here on 22. The markets are fearful again, right? And understandably so. The ETH merge went through. That hype has now gone. People are a little bit worried around that in terms of retail interest. You can also see Bitcoin, like I said, starting to form this critical pattern now. Are we going to get that little bit of a relief rally, final pump, maybe up to 2021 even max, and then come back down to test 18,700? And if we lose that level, that's when things get a little bit scary. Are we going to come down to that 17,600? Test that June low? Will equity markets test that June low as well? And then even lower than that, I've got a support line at 16,240 here. Also, let's take a look here at the Bitcoin chart. A few other things I do want to share with you here on the daily chart. And let's just keep it on this view for now and bring out the VPVR. So I'm going to bring out the volume profile range. And again, you can see hugely traded area in the area where right now we're right at the point of control here on the daily chart. And again, wouldn't be surprised to see a little bit of a rally into here, a little bit somewhere into this range before then coming down. And what you can see there, if I just pop me out the way, you can see once we lose this level, volume becomes very thinly traded in this range, okay? So again, easier for the bears to have their next push to downside thereafter. Also bring out the trusted EMA ribbon to look at the daily EMA ribbon, and you can see we're firmly below it. So what I'm saying here in terms of a little bit of a bounce is, will it bounce into its EMA ribbon? So let's just get zoomed in so I can show you here. What I'm saying is, can this just run into its EMA ribbon? EMA ribbon starts at 20.5, goes up to the top side of 21.5, right? So even a run up to 21.5, the bears are still in control, and I'll still be expecting to be thrown back down to those levels. So that's what we're watching out for here on Bitcoin. Also want to bring out the, let's bring out the Bollinger Bands, because it's an interesting thing I want to show you on the Bollinger Band. Now look at this. Look at how it's behaving within its Bollinger Band. When it picked up support here, it went for its run up, got rejected by the top of its Bollinger Band, and now we can see it hovering here. So the question now is, does it want to work its way straight here and try lose the horizontal support, or is it going to go for one more little run up into that range towards its Bollinger Band, get rejected, and then come back down? That's the scenario I'm working with here on the Bitcoin and Ethereum chart. But one thing we know for sure, it's going to be a huge week. It's going to be a huge week characterized by Jerome Powell and whether he decides to go for the all-important 100 basis point rate hike. We didn't think we were going to get to this point. I think a lot of people were calling for really aggressive rate hikes from the outset. But Jerome Powell was always focused on this soft landing. He really did think he could do it in a nice, gentle, telegraphed approach. But what he is finding, this inflation, which at one point he thought is transitory, which later he then said is persistent. Not just persistent, but it's deeply set into the economy. It's deeply baked in. It's sticky. It's hard to get out. It's stuck into the carpets. And it's going to need the power vacuum. And is he going to get that power vacuum out in the form of a 100 basis point rate hike to hoover up all this money from the economy, which, let's face it, he printed and he needs to resolve? Either way, for us guys, if we've got conviction, we're going to get some interesting juicy prices coming up. I know I'm looking forward to that. I know it's exhausting. I know this bear market is difficult. If anybody's been for a bear and a bull market cycle, one thing I will guarantee you, you can write this on a post-it note and put it on your monitor. You're going to miss these moments. You will find it boring in the bull market. All the bull market is going to do is give you some security, but you're going to look back and say, why did I need that security? I should have been secure when the price was down and I should have bought some more. I don't need green candles to give me conviction or security that these are great projects. My research will do that. On-chain metrics will do that. Fundamental updates will do that. Not charts, not green or red candlesticks on a chart pattern. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Have a great weekend wherever you are. If you appreciate these quick weekend updates, let me know in the comments that you like this format. Make sure you do that through smashing the like button as well. Go check out this video here, and I'll see you in the next one.